we're just going to have some fun here because you know how it is with dates, numbers, timestamps, and job applications. You know, like the book of Job, that's called a job application, an API program interface. I put that up actually on a YouTube about the Bible being an API, a WinSock, you know, an application internet service provider. That's why it's sort of funny when you think of the word U and then N. And in Scrabble, U is number one. Okay. Universe one. Harmonic universe one. Okay. Job one. Okay. Numbers games or editors games or torsion field numbers games, right? So sometimes when you think of, remember Mr. Smith, there has to be some purpose, Neil. Purpose. Okay, so let's repurpose. Like going back. Is that what it means? R-E? Or alphanumeric formatting? So I was thinking repurposed energy. So I was thinking of this guy that came out of the Defense Intelligence Agencies. For the life of me, I can't remember his name because I'm not supposed to remember his name because it's past history. Right? Name and me, name, me, me, right, me. It gets pretty ridiculous when I was listening to Mohawk Longhouse Milo Stewart, right, up in Quebec, talking about what I call boomerang language. One thing I will say is that there was a number of years ago when I realized that the more dark shit, excuse my French, but you can put a P in front of it. You can put whatever letter you want in front of it that represents a number, which is energy. Like, which is one of the reasons why I used to say fuck a lot, because you got the message when you understood what the F meant before the U. The U, which is one. No, A is one. Then when I was putting computers together and fooling around with motherboards and graphic arts boards and memory sticks and memory boards and the early DOS computers and stuff, right? And you could see the A, 0, 1s, zeros and ones, digital worlds, simulating worlds, using your consciousness to run a program app. That's what it is, a program application. So your consciousness is running the program that you experience in your mirror. So if you want to repurpose your energy in order to spirit something different, then you would create something different out of thin air. Air, like vapor, the ethers, right? So manifest something out of thin air. So when I was watching something that I've actually watched a few times, because there's just so much information that you're processing at once, but what it all means that you're giving context to, but I know this. When I was a child, I realized I was filtering incoming content based on one standard. You know what a standard is, right? Which is a metric. Just like in the military, they have what's called mil spec. Just like you know what a mill is, a milling machine is in a big factory, like the steel industry. STEEL, L, the L, you know, L like in electric, Elohim, L-O-Him, the hymn of the song, the electric music, electric light orchestra. These are all numbers games. Compartmentalization of alphanumeric formatting that's held in memory that basically is running all these different programs at once that people are connected to with their supercomputers, right, held in memory. So this is going to be interesting. The 5G went down in this house. The electric went off here in this house on the big island of Hawaii. I don't know how much of this island was affected by it, but it was off for about, I don't count the time, but somewhere in the neighborhood of about anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes, I guess, something like that. And then it just came right back on, right? So I had done a video earlier. Naturally, if you're using 5G, it goes up right away onto my YouTube channel. So when I went over to the 5G router is Tried to reset it, wouldn't reset. It's not rebooting. So that's actually good, right, in terms of exposure, right? But it meant, oh, well, you know what? That means I can't get that video up. And then I thought, don't force it. Whatever's supposed to happen, just let it happen. Implicitly trust your journey, because you know the light's in charge, right? Love is in charge. Heaven has a plan. Okay. But it's beautiful, actually, when you just go with the flow, which means you're not worried about a damn thing. You don't live in fear of nothing, because you are what love is, which is the absence of fear. Let's go with the flow. It's really amazing, actually, when I was a child, how so many of these words used in the English language was really a communication in spirit of what we sort of know what's going on. You know, we used to have a lot of different words. People that I was connected with was called lingo, you know, which was like street language or a way to communicate, like we know what's going on. We're surrounded by robots, order followers, right? It's like you already know their future. They're not going to have one in their mirror if they continue to do what they're doing, which is blowing holes in their own energy field. So if you think of what repurposing your energy is for, then you can see, for example, in the way that it can be translated by the different communities that you go through, because I've traveled through so many different communities, particularly throughout not just the United States and this island, but particularly in California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, mostly those states, but certainly California. Okay, so for example, you can go into Glendale. Well, actually, it's between Glendale and Pasadena. It's a little community called La Cañada, and they have a store, a market there. It's not that big, and it's called Sprouts, like bean sprouts. They got everything in there in terms of plant medicine, right? Stuff that comes from nature. So this is sort of how you can translate what I call the Oppenheimer model. You want a predictive modeling? Model the consciousness of an Oppenheimer. Here was a guy, if you want to measure it in terms of time and energy, of what consciousness is going to use its energy for, think about how much time Oppenheimer went through. Okay, all the schools in order to get his, you know, he went through what, elementary school, then he went through junior high school, then he went to high school, got all these diplomas, right? And then he eventually got himself a doctorate. Now he's at what, UC Berkeley, considered to be a preeminent scientist. You know, got recruited right directly into the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project, right? The atomic bomb. Picked a site called Trinity out in White Sands, New Mexico, right? And blew it off in 1945, right? And then, of course, what they did with that was horrific. I mean, just what I realized, what's his name, that general in the Air Force, who later became like a SAC general. I can't remember his name, but ordered, B-52, the super fortress. They were known as super fortresses, dropping incendiary bombs on the civilian population of Tokyo, incinerated an enormous amount of people. Why would anybody even consider doing something like that? That's horrific, right? So what you realize, what was Oppenheimer doing? He was repurposing what nature gives us. So see, nature gives us everything for free, like cantaloupes, strawberries, right? Mangoes, passion fruit, avocados, pistachios, everything that grows on the earth, right? So they extract the elements that come from Mother Earth, okay, which is a healing planet, by the way, and they repurpose it in order to make weapons. So they take what love creates and then invert it into a weapon against us, against nature, okay, to kill off a living world, to make it a dead planet. That's what they do. That's called repurposing the energy of something that loves you and then using that energy against you. In other words, you're giving them love, which is a source of power that loves them, but they're inverted, which means they don't want to be loved. What? Figure that one out. That's a virus. That's a mind virus. So you realize, why would any unit of energy that is conscious and aware of itself choose to commit self-suicide so it has no future by the use of its own energy to do it? So you see how this plays out, right? in front of your face because you're observing the observed. You're observing the purpose use of energy to destroy what love creates and thus manifest into its world what love has experienced. So how long has this been going on? Right? So now you get into, what was that, Tolstoy wrote the book War and Peace. So it's pretty simple logic to know that you can't experience the completion of a magnetic circuit, which is a moment that you feel the completion of that circuit, and feel what love is, real love in your heart, and experience war at the same moment, which is the same completion of a circuit. So now you get into war and peace. War and peace. Different mirrors. One's going black, one's light. One's what love is. So we're in love with our mirrors, which means we're in love with creation, which is the energy we use to create it with, which is the same energy we use to protect it with. So this is going to be I don't think in terms of dates and times. Tomorrow is just another day. The sun comes up, and I'm grateful and eternally grateful for everyone that is here, that is experiencing what's going down, because we won this already. Love wins. Love conquers all. Love is the most powerful magic because it changes everything it touches, to heal everything it touches, so you can experience the energy that created the universe, the first one. Yeah. We represent creation. We give love to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. All of you that are here to experience the liberation of what it means to experience what love is, because that's who we are, because that's the energy that we give to you for free. Doesn't cost us nothing to do it either. I love you all. Have a happy new day. New day. Sun comes up, sun goes down. Have a happy new Sunday. The solar day. Every day is a solar day. A sphere of light day. Center point of a sphere, the law of spheres, the law of light. Love is the law. That's the first law nation. That's the first law star nation. Yeah. 3, baby. Ding. Aloha. What all of you.